Hello, everyone, and welcome back. I am in Tazewell, Virginia, going to a comic book store called Welcome Back Collectibles. This has been a shop that a lot of people have recommended me, and to say this was a surprise is an understatement. When I got there, Tazewell, not really a big town at all. Like, even the McDonald's looked old. As soon as I walked into here, I was blown away. They had an entire key wall that was very well displayed, very well organized, and this store was almost in like an old department store, like in one of those strip mall department stores from back in the day, and they had repurposed it into this incredible haven, almost a museum, as you'll see, of just incredible comic books and figures. This is a store that, at this point, there has been several people tell me that I needed to go see. So I made the trip. I got on Interstate 77 and headed south, and I ended up in Tazewell, Virginia, and I'm glad I did. This store is, if you're traveling on that major interstate, this is worth taking the extra time and going the 20 minutes off Interstate 77 for this. But what makes no sense about this store is where it is, its location, how they have all of this stuff in the area that it's in. So, like, basically, this store must have pulled from every part of this area. All of these people from these years that have collected things and brought things in to sell and trade, it must have all funneled here, and these people must have just hit the mother lode. I don't know. They have toys, video games, comic books, magazines, VHS, vinyl, retro t-shirts, any type of collectible thing that people want nowadays, it's here. I just randomly saw this short box over here, and I was like, okay, what's in this? I hadn't come into the comic book area yet, and there was a bunch of old Mad magazines. It looked like maybe some WWF, some wrestling magazines I didn't really look at. I come on the first case here that's, looks like all the more modern stuff. Everything has a price tag seemingly. And the whole time I'm in here, I'm just thinking about my friend Dave from Open by Chance. This would be his like mecca. He would love this. But if you're somebody that likes retro things or just collectible things, pop culture, nostalgia, you need to go here. Oh, and the horror stuff. So many horror pieces that you'll see. Then we have in-box games. It looks like multiple copies. Super Mario 3, in-box N64, in-box Nintendo, in-box Sega Genesis, N64 on the bottom there, some loose ones. And then there's this whole area in the middle here for the comics. And I didn't know what to expect going in here. I just, the people that told me to go here, I trusted them because, they're hardcore collectors. So I went here, and the first thing I saw was the Spawn box. And I saw some, like, just a huge lot of, like, that King Spawn #1, which has come out within the last couple years or so. Big stack of Spawn books just casually stood up there. I start looking at prices, $15 here, $15 there. I'm like, okay, that's not great. Those aren't great prices for those books. And everything's got this green price tag. So, like, you have no way of knowing if this has been, like, recently priced or this has been, priced from years back. But here's a huge lot of Invincible Iron Man stuff. It looked like every single book was $5 or $6 a piece, which, to me, those are like $2 books, even really dollar books, personally. Huge lots of old Silver Age Thor coming up here, which really kind of caught my eye because I was like, okay, it's not just Bronze Age stuff and like dollar fodder type stuff or like super modern books. Like, there's Silver Age Thor in here, and some of it looked pretty nice. Kind of mid-grade-ish, some of these. Still a little bit too expensive, though. There was some Journey into Mystery in here. They looked like they were in pretty rough shape. But so far, overall, I was still pretty impressed. Like, I was there right as the door opened because I wanted to get there early, get it done. And there was already people in there. There was other people shopping in there. As far as the staff, I actually messaged ahead and said, "Hey, I'm coming through. I'm gonna film in there. Is that okay?" Because I was just preparing them, ahead of time. Like, "Hey, I'm Sticky Goose. You need to know I'm coming in there," and just to make sure they didn't hate me or anything, which they very well might. But then there's this whole row of like bottom shelf books, and I was like, okay, what's in here? Just randomly, like issues from the Watchmen series that were in like really high grade. I look on the back because it looked like all the price tag stuff were on the back. None of these were priced. So like my eyes lit up. I was like, holy crap, these might be like dollar books. Well, not so fast. Towards the end here, I take this stack up to the front desk, and guess what? He said, "You want me to price those for you?" I said, "Yeah, they don't have a price tag on them." And he said, "Oh, I'll price them for you." He comes back over and he slapped a $6 price tag on every single one of them. So I think what happens is he just gets into like a mood or a run or something, and he just starts, this is $6, this is $5, this is what it is. So, I mean, if you're wanting to dig and you're anywhere close to this area, or you're like going through this area, this is your place, because as you'll see here in a little bit, there are some deals in here. So I looked at this Luke Cage stuff for just randomly, and there was like, was it multiple copies of second Luke Cage? It looks like a pretty decent sequential run of Luke Cage. Like, I don't know what the story is behind this stuff. Like, is this from collectors? Have they bought collections? What is this? And then, the first Illuminati there and the new Avengers, 2 copies of it. What was it, priced $8? Looks like they had put new stickers on there after the crash, possibly. I don't know. But, those are, for some stores, those are wall books. Sadly, those are just in the long boxes here. A lot of magazine stuff, specifically this Nintendo Power lot. I was amazed by this. I mean, this is so nostalgic for me. I loved Game Informer, Electronic Gaming Monthly. I got all those magazines. I never got the Nintendo Powers, unfortunately. But man, these were sweet. These looked like they were in really good condition. I did not see a Nintendo Power #1 in there, which obviously that is a pricey book at this point, but these were very, very nice. Some of them in a lot better condition than others, and looking at the labels, because you can see, where they were mailed, those had been mailed locally to Tazewell, Virginia. So I am of the belief that this stuff came from local areas. Like they basically have just gotten everything there is to get in this local area, and it's all just kind of filtered here. These 3 rows here, or no, these 4 rows are all Marvel stuff, like on this top shelf. And I mean, the major titles are there: Avengers, Amazing Spider-Man. I kind of was perusing through this Amazing Spider-Man. I was like, okay, maybe there might be some double-digit ones, and there's a 99, but it stops right there. And I mean, some of these don't have any covers and really, really bad shape. And obviously, it's Amazing Spider-Man, so the price gun is going to go even a little bit higher on some of these. But it was still cool to see that, some of the ASM hadn't completely been poached through, so that was kind of nice to look at. This is me looking through some more of the Amazing Spider-Man. I'm still looking for First Silver Sable. I legitimately thought that it would be in here. I have a second print. That book's been reprinted. Make sure you are on the lookout for that if you're buying that copy. Here I am trying to look down through some of these bottom shelf books, just randomly pulling some stuff out. I don't know if any of those were priced. I didn't look. I mean, there is a ridiculous amount of stuff. But the problem is if you're down there and you're digging through the stuff that hasn't been priced yet, just be prepared. When you take it up there, it's not $1. It's not it's not $1 book. Like, they're going to price it at the counter. So just be prepared for that. And to be honest with you, I mean, that's honestly one of the worst things a comic shop can do. And that's why I say that it kind of makes no sense. Like, you have all of this stock priced, and then you basically are just putting the burden on your customers. And then the customers, let's just face facts. When you're digging through these long boxes, you're trying to find treasure. You're digging for buried treasure. That's the fun of it. And then to just like say, oh, let me price those for you. It just kind of pissed me off a little bit. But it doesn't surprise me at this point. The comic book shop is not what it used to be. Brother Voodoo, second appearance there, just casually in that box. And then here is the 90s X-Men run. I was like, hey, there's a Mega Red poking out of there. How much is that? It's $33. And here's the rarest book in the whole world that you're going to see here is X-Men number 4, First Omega Red. No big deal. Just 6 copies casually sitting in there. $35, $45, $40. Rare book. No big deal. Sold a 9.8 of that for $140, $150. So that's all you need to know about that book. Here was some Wolverine stuff. Something caught my eye back there was some Old Man Logan. I need to read this. This is the Brian Michael Bendis run. And then that was a really cool variant cover. Probably won't buy that in single issues. Going to look for a trade paperback or a collected edition of some sort for that. This is the DC stuff. So, as you can see, that was all Marvel. So, the only DC stuff I saw was this row that you're seeing right here. First thing I spot is this Kamandi. Jack Kirby, Kamandi, the last boy on Earth. This looked like a huge run of this, including issue number 1. This would have been a great reader set to have. Still a story that I will read eventually. Need to see if it's in a collected edition, but not so fast. We found it. This is the Swamp Thing area, and I was like, oh man, there's even some of the volume 1 Swamp Thing. I was like, okay, and then I saw Saga Swamp Thing. I was like, okay, let's go. And I was like, holy crap, there's Alan Moore Swamp Thing in here. Multiple copies of Saga Swamp Thing number 1. But Swamp Thing, probably pound for pound, my favorite comic book, superhero comic book story. Alan Moore's classic. And I find some nice stuff here. Wait till you see this. This is the cover homage to the House of Secrets 92. Multiple copies of this. Nice book. A couple of these were in pretty decent shape too. Great covers here. Great story. You got to read it if you haven't already. These are just books you do not see in back issue bins. These are books that collectors buy up, and these have been glossed over. This is one of my favorite comic books of all time. This issue specifically, and that is where Abby Arcane and Swamp Thing get frisky out in the swamp, and she like eats some of his fruiting bodies. She starts tripping out. They have like all this whole psychedelic experience. It's awesome. Must read. This is a cool issue right here with some of the... this is when Swamp Thing and Batman kind of meet. And then a lot of these... So I have the absolute version, like the collected edition. The covers have been like altered in that collected edition to this almost like different style. Like it's a totally different style. And to see some of these covers, to be honest with you, these are the first time I've seen these covers not in that altered style. So that was like a treat. Ended up getting a whole bunch of those. Stick around to the end to see the haul we got. Was looking into some of the Batman stuff. It did not look like there was any like silver or Bronze Age Batman stuff in there, which is not surprising. That's stuff everybody wants for the most part. I did see that Batman Adventures. And I was like, hey, maybe there's some Batman Adventures in here. GI Combat. These were like, I think these were the only war books I saw. Always looking for stuff for Dad. And then DC Comics Presents, including several issues of number 1, Minor Key of sorts. And I mean, this was a super nice run of DC Comics Presents. 1 through 10 there. Maybe even more. Shout out Bronze Age Brian if you're watching this. He would be all over that. Talk about a guy that loves DC Comics Presents. That's all he cares about. Superman vs. Deadpan. So all of these, the keys in this, of course, there was no issue number 26, but hold your horses. Number 27, first appearance of Mongol, 2 copies of that for $3. First appearance of Mongol for $3. They didn't label them. They didn't realize, I don't think they realized what they had. Second Mongol here. Not a crazy key, a more minor character, but still a nice first appearance. And these were this one copy of number 49, great Black Adam and Shazam cover, $35, pretty rough there, but that was a pretty nice copy. And then there was some Silver Age Justice League. I think that was number 27. There's number 13. I mean, some nice Silver Age Justice League in here. Some of it kind of beat up, really beat up. So I took a quick gander of that. That's number 15. This issue there, I don't know what the number of it was there. 26, 47, starting getting to the later ones. A lot of those I already have. Nice Justice League books. Super. I mean, this DC stuff is so underrated. It's just crazy. Like the price differential, it's stupid. First Bizarro Flash, kind of cool. These Lois Lane, specifically that one, I think that it looks like Neil Adams. I'm assuming it is. It may not be. I don't know. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about half the time. Here's House of Mystery. I looked at those. Some of those later, spookier covers, specifically in the Bronze Age, always kind of catch my eye with the Cain and Abel stuff. Here is some Adventure Comics, some 10-cent stuff. Earlier Silver Age Adventure Comics, always cool to see that. Low grade, as you would expect, in a back issue bin. A lot of 10-cent issues. Very cool. So I start perusing the shop a little bit more. I'm wanting to go look at their horror stuff. But then I walk around this corner and then I see this massive VHS collection. I'm like, holy crap. This is crazy. I mean, the amount of stuff they have in here is just ridiculous. Here is a Tales from the Dark Side, or what was that? Tales from the Void. I can't remember. And then Natural Born Killers, Oliver Stone, Woody Harrelson. That is an awesome movie. That's a cool VHS to have. People grading VHS tapes now. I love it. So stupid. Here is some older consoles. All of them look shrink wrapped, individually packaged. And I like how they kind of threw some games in there for the person buying it. That's kind of cool. Some games that kind of might be tough to sell. They just kind of put them in there with a console bundle. Nice. And here was just this massive collection of like PS2 and Wii and what's that? Xbox 360. There's some Hot Wheels stuff. There's some full-size Chucky dolls. And then I was like, okay, here we go. Here is some stuff in the glass for some SNES and NES. Had some really nice titles in here. One specifically caught my eye. Don't know if you can see it there or not yet, but you'll see it in the haul here in a minute. I ended up just buying one game in here, but there were several I really, really wanted. And a lot of them looked like they were in really good condition. Walking around here, a lot of Godzilla stuff. Just a lot of like old monster movie stuff. There was some full-size Chucky dolls, Bride of Chucky up there. just if you're a horror fan, like you're going to love this place. And they had a lot of the Spawn toys too, like the older McFarlane Spawn toys. And then they had the Kenner Star Wars figures. Really nice little display there. And this whole row was Star Wars stuff. You love to see it. And then the Funko Pops, could have cared less. There's Stone Cold Steve Austin lurking there at the top. He's touching the ceiling. But yeah, I mean, as far as price on some of this stuff, I don't know. I mean, I don't even, is there a price guide for some of this stuff? Oh yeah, there was some sports memorabilia too. I mean, they had everything. Some graded sports cards, old cups, old lunch boxes, bobbleheads. So I go back and look at the keys, the key wall. And if you guys have followed my channel, when I went to Hampton, Virginia, this is Adam Strange Mystery in Space when it becomes the Adam Strange stories. And I was like, oh man, this is like retribution. I might buy this. I think this was like $65, which is honestly pretty good. Now, the question I had with this book is just the cover felt really weird. Like it felt like water damaged. It didn't look water damaged, but it felt like it. And then there was like some tape internally. I didn't understand that. I couldn't like find the staples. Like I didn't know how this book had been stapled. You can really see the tape stuff there. This is me like trying to take a look at the staples. All right, everybody, we are back at the Sticky Goose Man Cave, and you know I had to buy some of them Swamp Thing books. This was an awesome cover. You got the American flag in the back. $5 for this incredible Swamp Thing book. What is that? I think it's issue 44. So good. Alan Moore, Stephen Bissett, classic. This is Swamp Thing number 38. This is a little bit earlier in the run. This is when there's like the vampire or the, what are they, like sea peoples, like they're trying to like kill people and bring them down underwater. $6 here. I think that actually might be a minor key newsstand as well, not that it matters. Swamp Thing number 47, this is the direct version. This, I think, is the first appearance of the Council of Trees. So this one, it starts getting into like the green and starting to develop that, that whole mythos. And it just gets so good at this point. This is later on in the Moore run. This is into the 86 part of it. This is issue number 34. This is the one I was talking about. This is the painted cover. $5 for this. I already have a copy of this. Couldn't leave it there. Couldn't leave it behind. This is a better copy than what I have on my wall, so this will be replacing that one. One of my favorites. Abby loving her some Swamp Thing. This was hilarious. Like, I did not remember this cover. This reminds me of Jim Carrey's Grinch, the baby Grinch. That just kind of reminded me of that. Got some voodoo magic here with Swamp Thing. Then, of course, we have the homage cover. Swamp Thing 33, homage to House of Secrets 92. Man, this is sick. Yep, that one, this is going on the comic capsule wall as well. This does have some spine ticks, unfortunately, and it is the direct. But it was the best copy of the ones they had. I almost considered buying all of them, but I thought, I don't need all of them. This is DC Comics Presents 27, First Mongol. You already saw this. $3. $3. There were 2 copies of it. This was the significantly better one. So I picked it up. Newsstand. Not that it matters. And last but not least, we bought a video game. This is Swamp Thing on the NES, made by THQ. Old school Nintendo game. Man, I have never even heard of this game. Apparently, it's extremely difficult. Controls are horrendous. Not a good game. Usually not a good sign if I have never heard of the game. Usually that means that it's not very good, but it was $150 for this game. And some of the other pricing I saw that, you know, was selling for like $180, $185. I was like, okay, this is a good enough buy where I was like, okay, this is something I've never even seen before. How cool is this? And it's honestly not that badly priced. So that's the haul, around $200. Guys, what do you guys think? If at any point in time you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you like this video, subscribe for more. Take care.